Welcome back to the Kelowna Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, mortgage broker Taylor Atkinson.
And I'm your real estate agent host, Matt Glenn. And man, Taylor, do I have an ace up my sleeve today. Actually, two aces. I got the tip at the top, the big kahunas, the top looking down at Ace Marketing, talking about all things Ace, their projects, when they started, what's going on. What do you think? How was it?
I mean, we could call them the king and the queen if we just want to keep rambling on these terrible analogies or dad jokes, whatever. But yeah, they were a lot of fun to chat to. They've got projects all over BC, Kelowna, North Van.
Kind of taken Kelowna and BC by storm, eh? Ace Marketing.
Yeah.
They seem to be everywhere. They are now selling Water Street by the Park, which is the tallest building in interior BC, going to be 42 stories, one of the towers. Now selling, by the way, so if you want to buy one, hit me up. Yeah, like you said, projects in Revelstoke, got Revo, which I think there's units available there still, and then North Van, I'm sure other places too. I think the Island, I think they brought that up on the show.
Yeah, and they seem to be doing some pretty cool stuff where they generate some capital to get the projects off the ground. Yeah. And as an investor, I think you can like buy into that as the initial investment and then transition into home ownership. So if you really want to invest like start to finish, it's some pretty cool projects there. But yeah, they were a ton of fun to speak to. Yeah. They do have an office downtown Kelowna, so you can go chat with those guys. I feel like they're pretty open door policy. But yeah, like you said, they've got some awesome projects, and I'm excited to see Water Street by the Park complete. That will be an interesting one.
Oh my God, me too. I can't wait to get to that top floor and look out. It's going to be wicked.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool. Yeah.
We're also trying to get one of their colleagues on in the future talking about some interesting financing perspective on some of their projects. Yeah. We won't shed too much light on it, but basically like minimal down payment to get into these. And then I think they like syndicate some of the rest to kind of help homeowners. So transitioning into speaking about helping homeowners, we do have some more breaking news. I feel like we need to do a podcast every day of how much news is coming out.
Honestly, good thing we have this podcast, keeping the people informed. There is shit coming out every single week that we can talk about. It's crazy.
Do you think after the political campaigns and the voting's done, we won't have breaking news anymore? Because honestly, I feel like all of these are just like, hey, here's a good media tagline. Let's get some positive traction.
Yeah, but like we're going to talk about the budget that just came out, but that's federal. There's not even an election for like over a year away. Yeah. The provincial one's in the fall. So like that one at least makes sense. But like, yeah, like these are not even... They're just changing shit, dude. I was in a meeting today. I was talking to another person in the industry, and it just feels like we have rules changing all the day. We have these high interest rates. Like, man, you cannot catch a break. It's actually good that we came on the show to keep the people informed.
Yeah.
I got to say, pat myself on the back.
So yeah, we'll talk about 30-year AM insured product. So for those of you that don't know, the most kind of common amortizations are 25 or 30 year. If it's a CMHC insured mortgage, and I say CMHC, but there's 3 insurers, generally, we do a 25-year amortization. It's got to be under $1 million. It's got to be primary residence. So they've come back with this product in the mortgage industry stating that 30-year AMs are now possible as an insured product if you're a first-time home buyer and if it's a new build. Yeah. So it sounds great. I mean, I've been preaching that they should be doing 30, 35, 40-year amortization first-time home buyers to allow them to get into the market on insurable products.
I think they used to be 35, right? It wasn't that long ago.
Actually, my first property I bought, second property I bought, I guess, was that. It was a 35-year AM insured mortgage. So
why? Why did they bring it down to 25 and now 30?
Essentially what they're trying to do with all lending is, restrict our ability to spend because, prices are kind of getting away and people's budgets are getting out there. So obviously by giving someone a 30-year amortization option, we can qualify them more because the monthly payments effectively less over 30 years. Yeah. The problem I have with this program is like where in BC, well, there are some spots, but like where is there a new home in Canada that's less than $1 million that a first-time home buyer is going to afford? It's not very likely. I think it's a couple percent that may actually be affected by this. Yeah. So it doesn't really do anything for affordability or helping first-time home buyers. Like I don't know anyone that's a first-time home buyer that bought new construction.
Something like Revo proposed for the show we have today, but they have units in there. They had them in the 4s, right?
I mean, going to that too, though, developers, and much like a home builder for a single-family home, they're going to want to larger deposit than 5%, which is the insured product you're looking for. So then you have to jump that hurdle where the first time home buyer is going to come up with 20 or 30% down and then they get that back out at time of closing. Like it hasn't been thought out, in my opinion.
Do you think the government come up with a thing where they secure the deposit or something? Like maybe that, just hearing you talk about this, instead of giving somebody a loan, like for these developers that need 10%. I don't know.
Well, they used to do that program where you'd essentially like share the down payment with the government. I think they just got rid of that program recently, but then they would also share in the gain of the property. It's like you're getting in bed with a joint venture in the government. And, well, it's ridiculous. You're giving up your equity in the property that you're gaining, right? Your appreciation when you sell, then you give some of that to the government. Yeah. For the RSP contribution, so they went from a $35,000 limit to a $60,000 contribution as of April 16th. I think that's not a bad idea. However, again, I don't know a lot of first-time home buyers that have $60,000 built up in an RSP. If you do, amazing. Contact Matt and I. Yeah. I think what they should have done is just allowed you to put more into your first savings account, like the TFSA one, instead of doing $8,000 annually. Just, don't put a cap on it. Yeah. I think both of those were more media moves personally. Yeah. So I'm not super sold on it. Like all these little things are good in theory, but like how much time and money are they wasting on the administration of this?
Well, they're also both like demand side helping, right? Like we need supply side fixes. Yeah. This is really not going to help affordability. Yeah. It might help some people get in, but like they're not needle movers for sure.
No, not at all.
Yeah. The big one, the one that's got everyone all fired up is the capital gains increasing. It used to be you got taxed your income on 50% of the gain, and now it's 66% on the gain. Any gain over 250K, unless you buy it in a corp, then it's the whole thing.
Yeah. So as an individual, you're exempt from that 2/3 capital gains up to 250,000. Over that, it obviously is not. Yeah. But as a business owner, there's no exemption. So your capital gains as a business owner has gone up. So if you're buying properties in a corp, like a lot of these people do for multifamily commercial buildings, and there's a gain on that, well, yeah, that's a pretty big tax bill. So again, I don't think they're going at it with the right idea, because you're taking investors away from the market. Like who's investing in these? And then further to that, if you are looking at selling and there's a huge gain, maybe people won't sell and they're just going to refi and there's no taxable event. So, I mean,
that's what I think's going to happen.
When we spoke with Brendan Ogmanson, he's like, we need more transactions. Yeah. We need more listings. Yeah. We don't need this restrictive play from the government. So,
yeah, I think the major effect it's going to have on real estate is just going to be less listings.
Yeah.
Especially rental properties and commercial buildings, right? Because like $250,000 sounds like a lot, but like you buy a property and you hold the real estate for a long time is what you should do, like 5, 10, 15 years. Like you're making way more than 250 grand on that.
Yeah.
Right. So I've heard a lot of people say it's only top 1% of people are going to be affected by this. I'm like, that is just not true. Like a lot of people have rental properties. Like I said, the value goes up over time. So 250,000, it sounds like these people are just rolling in money, but it's really not the case.
Well, and I kind of wonder, like, it's not causing anything for affordability. People aren't going to sell their place cheaper. I guess it's just going to cause less people to invest. But the only way you can mitigate it is offsetting it with like RSP contribution, or like if you're self-employed, you pay yourself a very minimal amount. So really, like from an income tax perspective, people are going to try and avoid to pay the tax on that gain by offsetting it somewhere else. So it's not like the government's coming away with any more on this. It was a very sneaky way to increase the capital gains when they've always said they wouldn't. So the other one we wanted to highlight quickly, we just had Brendan Ogmanson on, and one of his recent posts was discussing inflation trends. So inflation is falling. It's actually negative now when measured in a 3 to 6 month horizon if we take out the cost of rents. So basically the CPI that he's now calculating is we're kind of in that recessionary market. Not looking great. If you didn't listen to that episode, give it a listen. It was a lot of fun chatting to him.
It was a lot of fun talking to him. That's interesting though, that like the housing is keeping the inflation going and keeping on the mortgage rates because of that. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just a lot of people are hurting out there and it's starting to bite. You can just feel it. So I hope that things change there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens over the next 7 days and then we'll have more news for you. But until then, listen to this show. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. Reach out to Megan and Chad if you're interested in any of their projects. And if you're looking for an agent to write a contract on it, then you know where to find Matt. One other really positive thing, Matt and I were contacted through our Instagram, Kelowna Real Estate Podcast, from a guy named Adam and his wife, Kai the Label, Bamboo and Organic Cotton, Toddler Apparel. So he's going to hook us up, well, hook our kids up with some sleep sacks and onesies. And yeah, that is amazing, man. I'm stoked on that.
That was awesome that he reached out. So stoked. My wife immediately opens his Instagram, goes through it, and is just in love with all the stuff, is sending your friends all the things. Because obviously when you have a baby, when you have a 1-year-old, this is like huge news. So the fact that he reached out to give us some merch, we're supposed to be the ones giving out merch, and he's giving it to us. We had to shout him out because wow, that was awesome.
Yeah, love that. That's the best kind of support we can get. I don't know, whoever has kids, you know that they love their sleep sack. So
yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. This will come out on Monday, but he's going to be at the Kelowna Home Show this weekend.
Yeah.
So you probably met him if you weren't there. So pretty cool company. Definitely support them.
Give them a follow on Instagram and check them out. And always appreciate the listeners supporting us.
Yeah. And this show, like every show, is sponsored by the best brokerage in Kelowna, Century 21, Assurance Realty. It's the brokerage with the most help, the most inclusive. Like being an agent, you're on your own, but you're not alone at this brokerage. If you ever thought about making a change to another brokerage, or even just talking to Max about it, or talking to Dean, they're open for a call. I would give them a call, explore your options. It's a great place to be. I love it here. Enjoy the show.
Okay. Ace Marketing, Chad and Megan, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
We like to start our show just you connecting with our listener. What's your perfect Friday look like? Productivity. What do you do, in the office? And then leading into the weekend, what do you do for a bit of fun?
Megan, would you like to start?
I feel like my response is going to be incredibly underwhelming. We really do put a lot of our time and energy into our relatively new company of Ace. So yeah, outside of work, it's all about my puppy and hitting the trails with my dog. And I read a lot as well, but that's kind of my life. I used to travel a lot, but that's been put on pause for a little while.
Now you're just traveling for work.
Exactly. Now I just travel, domestically for work.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My Friday morning, usually take the dogs out. I have 2 Great Danes. One is 9 and one is 2. They are monsters, but they're pretty well behaved. So I'm very lucky. We should go to the Cedar Creek Dog Park.
Yeah.
So we start off there just to keep kind of my mind from getting too busy on a Friday morning. Usually try to meditate for 20, 30 minutes. I know that sounds cliche, but it works so well.
I love it.
Then what I try to do is meet with 1 or 2 of the staff or partners, have breakfast, and then another breakfast, and then kind of start the day off. But it's worked, and then it kind of gets you ready for the weekend. Being in project marketing, all of our sales staff works throughout the weekend. So get them excited, go through our new incentives, and then kind of they go on their way.
Yeah, so you guys, Ace has kind of hit the ground running here because you guys are everywhere. In Kelowna, obviously we're Kelowna Real Estate Podcast, but you guys are beyond that. Like, where else are you?
We focus on 3 major areas. We have master planner resort communities, which Chad is definitely a pioneer in that area. Obviously, the Okanagan is our bread and butter. This is where our head office is right now. And we also have some very exciting big projects coming up on the island. And we have a couple under our belt that are currently selling right now. And most recently, we added North Vancouver to the portfolio. And that's largely because of Chad. He's pretty much sold everything in North Vancouver. So, yeah.
That's not a bad place to sell everything.
Yeah.
It's funny. We have a new project with Fairborn Homes. Fairborn is one of the most established developers on the North Shore, one of the best developers, and he has constantly brought product out. So he found out we were really kind of building in different areas, and he was working with another company and invited us to come down and see his project and brought us on. We put together a team, and we have a few more things popping up in North Van. I think between myself and a few people on the team, we've done about 8 or 9 buildings throughout the North Shore. So anywhere you look, from First to Upper Lonsdale is Fairborn Project. So it's a great relationship, and that's what we're all about, working with developers and growing with people that we've created that relationship with. So it's more longevity for us.
Are you from North Vancouver originally?
No, I am not. I'm from Regina, Saskatchewan.
Okay.
So I used to come out to BC growing up every summer. Pretty much the day school was done, they'd get me on a plane. I'd go from Victoria to the island to Whistler and kind of rotate through. And the day before school went back, they'd send me back. So I'm from Regina, but I've been out here since I was 19. BC's incredible.
Nice. I guess what's your biggest value add? Like, we'll talk about kind of the Kelowna projects you guys have going on as a marketing company. What do you add to developers and kind of end consumer? Like, what's your biggest strength, I guess?
I think there's a few for sure. I mean, there are a few things that definitely set us apart from the competition, and there is some fierce competition out there. So I think there's enough business to go around for everybody, though. As you guys know, it's booming. We've stayed resilient through a really tough market. But I think ACE has created something really special here in that the core team that got this company going, we've just built on that kind of magical recipe. And it's a really inclusive team and a really diverse team of individuals who have a unique different skill set that they bring to the table, whether it's resort or whether it's condo, whether it's urban, whether it's recreational, like all these different facets. So we do have a very strong team behind us with a ton of experience. So yes, ACE is approaching a 4-year anniversary, but
it's crazy.
Behind us, there's like 20 plus years, on an individual basis. Collectively, I don't even want to know the number. It's too much, but
yeah, you guys are also kind of a large company. Like how many salespeople, how big is it?
So right now we are 45, 48 people, and that's from the Kootenays to Vancouver Island to here in North Van. Salespeople come and go, and we try to give them an open door to come back.
Yep.
But no, it's crazy to see starting with like 7 or 8 of us for 2 years and then growing this way. And just because we take a lot of time making sure we're putting the right fits together that fit with the developers first and foremost, then us in the same room together. It's exciting every day.
No kidding. When you guys work with developers, you help with the acquisition, and you're involved in the project from the start, kind of helping design it, or how does that?
Yeah, I mean, the design aspect of it is funny you ask. We just had a meeting right before this with an architect, kind of moving into the development realm. We can step in at any given time. Ideally, the earlier the better. We absolutely help our developers in the really early days if they want that help to find land or assemblies. We work with key people in the industry who will go door knocking and find some really strategically located, assemblies and sites for us that they'll put together for our developers. That we've had a lot of success with that. I mean, the market is so, once it's listed, it's such fierce competition again. But so it is important to work with key individuals, leading industry in other realms of property development. So that is definitely a benefit to us. But sometimes they bring a piece of land to us and they say, this is what I have. What should we put on it? And we'll come in subsequent phases after that. Sometimes it's already with the architect. DPs are in. They just want the sales and marketing, But I think the commonality amongst all the developers, and Chad touched on it, truly, from our heart of hearts, relationships are everything for us. It's what drives the business development side of it. It's what maintains the relationships, because this is a roller coaster that we're about to get on together. So we'd better have a great, start out the gate with it. And that means having a good rapport, having similar morals, having integrity, wanting to do good work and create good product and a good value proposition for the buyers and all the rest. So we're really lucky. We have a great database of developers that we work with, and we're keeping the pipeline full with them, and they're collaborative, which is really important. It allows us to stay agile and pivot in a volatile market where we really need to stay on our toes. So,
I mean, you guys see it firsthand. What does the buyer want right now? I mean, most of the media attention is on affordable housing and legislation changes that, we need more units on the market. If it was that easy, then developers would just put cookie cutter 500 square foot, just, throwing them up like row houses. But does the end consumer really want that? What's the easiest thing for you guys to sell? Is it a 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom? Are they looking for granite countertop, quartz, stainless, amenities? Or is price more important? What's kind of the driving factor?
So with the UBC campus coming downtown, it really opens up the door for all different products. So developers, if they're looking for something more affordable and maybe smaller square footage to rent out for a student, now that Airbnb is no longer, there's options that we have in our portfolio like Revo. Or if you're looking for a tower lifestyle with more amenities than Kelowna's ever seen, you'd be looking at Water Street. And then also the different townhome projects we have. A lot of people right now are coming in. They want to get into this market. They're leaving Vancouver, they're leaving Surrey, they're leaving Burnaby, they're leaving Coquitlam, and they want a place to call home or to come back and forth. So right now it's about just having a number of different products selling. And because so many people are going to be looking at going to rental instead of for sale, I think you're going to see the inventory here, especially on new product, get very small very quickly.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw it happen with Revo, and Revo is with one of our amazing development partners, Ryan Tamblin of Millennial Developments, and it was the sister project to the previously launched and hugely successful Five Crossings.
Award-winning.
Yeah, award-winning.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. But we saw in that from the summer prior where the market was still very hot and very strong. Five Crossings was about 80% micro units, so micro studios, that's 312, 313 square feet. Hugely successful. that developer really listens to the city council, to the buyer, feedback and all the rest. So we made a change. There are a lot more units and a lot bigger variety of units in Revo. And when we launched was like right in the thick of things going a little sideways in the market, but we had huge success with the really efficiently designed 2-bedroom floor plan. That was definitely the most highly sought after.
Yeah, with that project, we sold in the fall, right?
Yeah.
So we're just cresting 160 homes under contract. The team did 6 last week, a few studios, some 1-bedrooms, and a townhome. Mm-hmm. So the developer's happy, developer's great. And one of the best parts about what we do as well is the developers we're working with, they're one of our main source of business as well. So they're the ones passing over other people that they know in the industry, which has helped us grow the way we have.
Yeah.
So how many units are left at Revo?
So right now, I think we are at 65, 70.
Okay.
Left.
So this is going to be a few weeks out, so that number would probably be a little smaller. So get on it now.
Yes.
Do you have the data on, are people buying them as rentals or are they homeowners? Do you know?
With that project, with 1-bedroom, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms, those are people that are looking to move full time. But now with Airbnb changing, you're going to find a lot of people that want to have that opportunity to either have their kid or cousin or brother move up here and go to school, or have that option to just rent it out, hopefully at a higher rental amount going forward now that that law is being put into place. So you're seeing a lot of people that are looking at it for an investment to put a student or a retiree in. Because these buildings have crazy amounts of amenities as well. Mm-hmm. What's great with Revo and what was amazing about Five Crossings is these developments are being put together with more amenities than a wood frame building has ever seen in Kelowna, from cold plunges to outside movie theaters to workspaces. It's just the amount of detail and thought and the functionality. So even if you're in a smaller space, you have all these different places to go throughout the building. And it's quite remarkable what Millennial and a few of our other developers have put together.
Nice. Kind of circles back to like the original question I had is affordability really that important? But then when you're talking about like cold plunges and saunas and like, yeah, I want that. Everyone wants that. It's just, I guess as a developer, like you're in this rock and a hard place. Like, okay, you want it affordable, but you also want a cold plunge and a bike station and a dog walk station. And so it's good you guys are able to like try and find that balance and help the developers that way. Geographically, where do you find developers are like hungriest for those land assemblies in Kelowna? Like what's kind of the best area to develop right now?
It really depends. Every developer kind of has their most important list of criteria. Some of them have the option to be more flexible with it. Some of it's driven purely by price point. Some of them don't have to worry about that so much because maybe they can hold the land for a little bit longer until the numbers start to make a little more sense.
What a lot of the people that Megan's working with, or our internal team, is they're looking for, if it's in Penticton, larger sites. If it's in Summerland or Peachland, they're looking for either townhome developments or more compact square footage. If you're looking in Kelowna, you're looking Glenmore, you're looking in Rutland, you're looking in the Lower Mission. And downtown, there's a lot of sites that are being held, and you're probably not going to see the same developers do those sites. So you're going to see a lot of the larger sites that have been held kind of change hands. And then in Vernon, you're seeing a lot of homes, like lots and homes selling like crazy. So in these sites, it's different for everything, but those would be the main.
Like it really is different. Out of the 4 developers that I'm actively looking for land in assemblies right now, they're all different. One of them is specifically looking for like leasehold WFN, something like that, just with kind of their company mission statement. And that's what they're looking for. That would be ideal. Another one is strictly looking for 6-story wood frame sites because concrete, the numbers aren't jiving right now. It's a variety, but I think some of the key things, obviously, proximity to a hospital, to university or colleges, major transit routes, all of those things. As we know, parking is an issue to get enough for every unit in the building, especially if you're in the downtown areas. So being able to sell units without parking, you have to be in a good location and easy access to transit.
Yeah, Kelowna people like their cars.
Yeah.
Yes.
You seem to be seeing a lot of optimism in the Kelowna market.
Honestly, we're lucky to have lots of different kind of product to put out there, but kind of the last few weeks, we've started seeing sales pick up at all of our sites. On the island, the Kootenays, we launched a ski resort community called Red Mountain, where our team's been with them probably about, jeepers, I'm going to age myself, 22. When we went to sale for the first one, we're still with them. And we just launched 3 different products. One is a building called the Dally. It's condos, 1, 2, 3 bedrooms. We've exceeded the developer and the investors' wildest imagination about hitting a very high sales target and pushing a price point that doesn't exist. We just launched townhomes.
Totally. Yeah.
are starting at, well, just under $1 million up to 1.6. And the larger homes and the larger townhomes are moving the fastest, which is nice to see. We just released some more lots at a project called Caldera up there as well.
That community is just a really great example because we have another project up at Big White coming up that will be launching early winter. And we love these ski resort areas. Yes, we have the experience and it's great, a variety in our portfolio of our offerings, but especially with the recent changes for the short-term rentals. And then you add on it the exemption from the foreign buyer ban in these ski resort locations. That's like double whammy of like broader demographic who can and wants to buy in those areas. So we love those areas.
Yeah.
With under 10,000 US buyers, overseas buyers can still buy. As Megan was saying, Red Mountain was 85% US buyers.
Really? 85%
Yeah.
US buyers there?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we've been really tapping into that. And usually in British Columbia, you either focus on Alberta and then British Columbia. With that campaign, we're focusing on Portland, Spokane, all the areas around it. And it's been paying off.
Oh my God. So have any of your projects been directly affected with the short-term rental changes?
Right now in our portfolio, we're at about 16 projects currently in all different stages, and not one of them was affected by it. So that's why we're still smiling today.
Well, yeah. Was that by design? Like, are you guys that in tune that you're like, no, this is not going to work?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
We feel the pain of the people that invested in these. Obviously, not to get too political, but a lot of people, this would have been their savings. This would have been their retirement. It means so much to so many people, but luckily enough, in terms of with our projects and current ones coming up, none of them were zoned for short-term rental.
Yeah. You said something about Big White there that I found interesting. So just like a couple days ago, we have a place in Snowpines, and I think it was the March strata meeting came out. There used to be a discount on the vacant strata lots that were not built on anymore, and they just voted to not do that anymore. So everyone's strata fees are basically equal, whether you just own the land or you have a house on it. So they're really trying to push people to like, hey, let's build. So that's good for those kind of projects, is like motivating people. And I think I found that with a couple municipalities as well with land taxes. Like vacant land now is starting to creep up just because they don't want people land banking, right? They want you to build on it. So I think that's good motivation for anyone that's owning land. What are your kind of top projects that you guys like in Kelowna right now that you're looking after? Like, probably don't want to be too biased to certain developers, but if I was looking to buy a place right now from you guys, where would you direct me?
It depends on what you're after. I mean, we love our Water Street by the Park project. It holds a special place in my heart because I launched Tower 1 and 2 personally, boots on the ground, and put up my blood, sweat, and tears into that one. But
the team did amazing on that. It was unbelievable how much product they moved. And
it was just like, even the whole recipe of it, like I said, it was the first project that we launched with ACE. It really launched us into the most positive and amazing trajectory with this company. And I think the team that we had assembled at that point, we were all just like so in it and like absolutely working our butts off to make it the success. It was just like this perfect balance. I mean, talking more about amenities, the entirety of the parking podium and Tower 1 and 2 of level 6, it's all amenities, indoor, outdoor, heated outdoor pool, all of these things. So that's exciting. The walkability, you can't get better than that. It's a few blocks away from the new UBC O campus. It's a few blocks away from the hospital. It's half a block away from the lake. Like, it just really has everything going for it. And the views, the vistas are unparalleled because we're now selling only the remaining very upper floors of the 42-story tower. So
is that all that's left right now available?
We did our final release. So yeah, and it's top down now. And we had a lot of 3-bedroom floor plans that we held back or hadn't released yet. And now that those are being released, we're definitely seeing more people interested in the larger suites and staying away from maybe the 1 and 2 bedrooms and focusing on the 3s, which is nice because that's taking us, I think our best price 3-bedroom is around 1.4 right now and going up from there.
And it's on close to the 40th floor.
Up there it gets a little higher, but those floor plans go up to the 39th floor. And then we have a few Diamond Collection suites, which have some more upgrades. And then we have the penthouses, which will be released later.
Nice. So what's going to get released first, the penthouses or the next tower?
Right now we can talk about the penthouses, but definitely as we build, we always want to make sure we're keeping product and we're releasing it at the right time. Yeah. We're hoping in a perfect world when they're ready for Tower 3. We'd love it to be this year, but if not, we have a lot of amazing inventory and we have a lot of larger suites that we're releasing right now.
When's occupancy? Like, when's going to be the first person to move in? Like, I feel like I've been watching this building go up forever now. It's massive. Like, is this going to be the tallest building in Kelowna residentially then? Yeah.
It is indeed. I know there's been a few other that have come around and they've tried to match it or top it. I know the UBCO tower, I think, is around that. But yeah, at this moment in time, it is officially going to be the tallest tower.
And move-in date, when should it be finished?
2025.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, which is great because we all bought an investment.
Literally, Ace is one of the biggest investors in Water Street, and we're all still smiling. So it bonded us right from the start.
It actually works well in pre-sales. We've spoken about this before. You can buy now when the market's flat, interest rates are high, nobody wants to like think about debt servicing it. And then hopefully by 2025 rates are down and, you know, it was a good investment.
Beautiful university and a bunch of new amenities all around us to feed those buildings, which is incredible.
Yeah. So just for a novice like myself, so your sales team, do you contract out then? Like, how does that work for your 48? Are they employees or contractors?
ACE has grown quite a lot, especially in the past like 6 to 9 months. Prior to that, like we've always grown very mindfully and cautiously, always wearing a few different hats, each one of us, until it got to the point that like we did, you know, really have to start growing. So with that in mind, we do have, I'll call them like kind of your core staff. So we have some admin support. We have our, you know, accounting, all of those usual roles. Those are employees. But in terms of the sales staff, your project managers, project directors, et cetera, those are all on a contract basis. So depending on their capacity or their timeline and the right fit with the right developer and all of that, we will assign anywhere from, 1 to 2, maybe 3 projects for a project manager. It depends again on the timeline and the size of that. But this is kind of one of the things that really does set ACE apart from the competition. We don't overload our PMs so that we always want to maintain that boutique, really personalized experience with the ACE team. So our developers do know the whole team. They know all of us and they do get hands-on experience from all of us at any given point throughout the lifespan of the project. And that's one of the biggest pieces of feedback we hear from our developers is, you guys are growing, just please never change who you are and like the service that we get from you, because that's what we love about you guys. So.
And then ACE works with Oakwyn Realty.
Yeah, I've heard you guys mention Oakwyn before, and I've heard them a bunch from the Vancouver Real Estate Podcast guys who, we love. Also, I believe the owner of that was on a mortgage broker show that is out of Vancouver as well. Alex McFadden has a show and he was on there. So I've heard him speak. Seems like a fantastic guy. So how are you guys tied in with that? What's your relationship look like?
Oakwyn is an amazing powerhouse brokerage out of the Lower Mainland that I think for many years now has consistently won best brokerage in the Lower Mainland. As ACE started to grow, as you guys know, in pre-construction, sales and marketing, because of the contracts with the developers, you can have a mixture of licensed or unlicensed sales reps on a project. In this case, we were growing. We always want to make sure that we're doing everything, on the up and up, I's dotted, T's crossed. We wanted to align ourselves with a brokerage and, funnel our business through a brokerage that had similar company culture and, the same drive and passion that we had. And we really felt like Oakwyn was the perfect fit for that. They're very project oriented, being that they are based out of the Lower Mainland. So they understand that program. They understand how to sell it. They understand the benefits to it. So it just was a really organic, I think, match there. And also, we never want to touch resale. This is another thing that sets us apart from some of the competition as well. None of our team is touching resale. We are wholly and completely focused on the pre-construction game. Yeah.
And with this as well, so ACE Project Marketing is run by a team of agents. So they have the listings for these projects. And then, like Megan was saying, the best part about being with Oakwyn is when we have a launch and we're getting ready to go, we obviously work with the people that have been with us from the beginning, from the database, the developers' friends, family, people that have been following the project. We want to make sure that we get them to the front of the line, but we also love that we have almost 850 agents that understand projects. It's very, very different in this industry to find a company that understands from start to finish the deposit structure, getting your clients lined up, getting them ready for a date to write and go forward from there. And when we have an incentive to have that group of agents be able to push it out and be behind it is pretty remarkable. We looked at a lot of different agencies, and with the volume and just with the people that are attached, a lot of them come from a project marketing world because they love this brand. They love the connectivity. They love our culture behind it, that it just made sense. And our colors are the same. So It really flows nicely.
Also, I've noticed that your projects are pretty realtor friendly, right?
Yeah, we definitely try. We're always thinking about how to bring more realtors in and really give it different incentives with
Yeah, you guys have quality incentives.
Perfect. That's what we like to do. Every week we sit down, we go through all the different projects, all the different areas. We're always watching other companies because it's amazing to see some of the new incentives, not necessarily with discounts, but with what you can do with mortgages or getting relationships to lock in certain incentives. And it's been really powerful for us. But we don't sit on an incentive for long to keep it fresh and to keep the projects moving.
I wanted to just lightly touch on like the fact that for us, I think one of our skill sets really is that we understand the capital raise program and the value that it brings to our developers, especially with interest rates and the cost of, getting a project off the ground. It is so much more expensive and scarier than ever for a developer to have to do that. And so if we can help to de-risk the project a little bit, at least for them, that's kind of what's done through a capital raise. And again, Millennial is a really great example of that. We started out with 5 crossings. ACE oversees the marketing scope of the capital raise program, and we work really closely with an exempt market dealer. In this case, it was North America Home Finance. And so there's like the continuity from the capital raise through to the pre-launch and the sales and marketing launch of the project. And there's a cohesiveness to that program. And so one of the beautiful things in that, in a hot market, when a developer can ask for 20% down on a deposit, those investors who are putting their money to work long before the sales actually launch, so they're putting in their money into the raise, they're earning profit sharing and interest on that money. Then they get front of the line access to purchase whatever unit they want in the building in front of everybody else. They also sometimes, depending, will get a little bit of a discounted rate on that. But most importantly, they'll get to take at least part of that investment, up to 10% of their deposit on the condo purchase, and convert it. So they're getting to like double whammy, earn their money on that bit of money, which is amazing. And then in the end, if they want to hang on to that condo and put a renter in it, well, it's just like a few different points at which they get to capitalize on that investment. And it de-risks the project at least a little bit for the developer in that some of those units are most likely pre-sold. So it's a really beautifully orchestrated program. And we definitely done it a few times now. And we have a few EMDs that we work with and some great teams of dealer representatives as well. But it's definitely a value add for the developer.
Yeah, that's fantastic. All right, we'll jump into our final kind of wrap-up questions if you guys have time. If you could buy a project or buy a property or the whole project anywhere in the Okanagan, where would it be?
I think for me, I've got to live all over the Okanagan, and especially in Kelowna, and I love being downtown. I live in the Cannery Lofts. It's close to everything. It's right across from the office. Again, back to having Great Danes, needing to run around and going crazy. I think I'd look at the downtown market. I'd look at the Knox Mountain area, the Lower and Upper Mission. It all has a really great feel and has a nice connectivity. I would buy downtown.
Yeah, Chad's a downtown boy. He always has been. Yep. He loves the lofts. He loves to be like right there, 2 blocks away from anything that he needs. I'm the opposite. I was born and raised in rural Manitoba, and I couldn't wait to move to the big city. And now, after living in all the big cities, I'm like back to the country. I love living in McKinley Beach. I love that I can walk out the door every morning and go for a swim with my dog in the summer or hit the trails in the wintertime. Yeah, I love that little bubble of Kelowna. It's zen and peaceful, and it's quite lovely. Yeah.
I like how you've got the Great Danes, you're downtown, but you did say Cedar Creek was the best dog park to take them. It is, hands down. Like, it is such a good dog park. So you probably never trek out of downtown, but when you do, that's where you go. Yeah. What would you tell your 20-year-old selves best pieces of advice?
I know this one because it like haunts my dreams. I was just like, travel the world. But I wish that I took just a moment in there to like put a deposit down on a pre-construction condo. I really do. I just think like, hey, young persons out there, like, skip the car, put some money down on a condo because it is going to like launch you on an entirely different path in your life down the road. Your future self will thank you for it.
I love that.
I think the biggest thing I've learned, or I would tell my 20-year-old self, is that you're only as successful as the people around you. And to find the right people is important. And if I knew that sooner, I think it's just something anybody can learn sooner. But my younger self, it's all about the people that you surround yourself with to grow anything in life.
So how do you or ACE give back to the community? Do you support any charities or anything?
This is a really good question because we've dabbled and kind of skirted around a couple other ones, but I think we have finally landed on one. We were lucky enough to be approached to host an event at our ACE head office here in downtown Kelowna. It was a few weeks ago now, but the charity is called Humanity, and that's Humanity with an I. And Vaden was the phenomenal speaker who came and shared his personal story. He's recently joined Humanity, and they're based out of Toronto. But just the story there, what everyone just needs to know, it is 100% of the funds that are given through, the charitable donations, 100% of them go to the end user. And they take major strides in having full transparency on the flow of those transactions so that people can actually physically see. Right now with everything that's going on in the Middle East, there's a lot of, donations being sent that way. But yeah, it really struck a chord. I think that this is the one that we're going to do work with for sure in the future.
Mm-hmm. So is it nationwide, global? Where are they generally based? What are they supporting?
They support pretty much anywhere and everywhere that needs it. Vaden specifically, and the catalyst in his story and being so deeply involved in these philanthropic and humanitarian endeavors was in Haiti. And so there's still a lot of turmoil. And
they focus a lot on looking at children in different areas. Mm-hmm. And really focusing on child trafficking and making sure that people have the right tools, the right outlook, the right everything to kind of combat that, and then also help communities being affected by either natural disasters. It's an amazing charity that has all different assets.
Yeah, the sex trafficking, child trafficking, that was definitely a huge part of it initially. But for example, we got a video from the founder of it on the day that Vaden came to speak to us, and he was in lifetime, he was in Gaza, he's there dealing with the Palestine-Israeli conflict that's going on. Obviously, there's a ton of people on all sides and in the middle that are being affected by it. So they were sending over, I think, blankets. That was kind of the big shipment that had arrived that day. And so he showed us the shipment that had a time and date stamp on it, so no one can use it maliciously It's just a really transparent, and the funds are genuinely going to the end user, which you don't see that in many charities, if any, these days. So
one other one that, because we're all animal lovers at ACE, I think there's more dogs than staff. Yeah. Sometimes is just whenever we can help or provide assistance to the Humane Society or the SPCA. That's been the last few years, and it's been pretty rewarding.
Yeah. Well, I love both of those. Good for you guys. Okay, well, how can our listener connect with you guys, developers, real estate agents, end users? How do they find you guys? Do they just walk into your office or give you a call?
Any of the above, yeah. We are located at the Delta Grant. So that is our head office, which is largely used as a developer marketing space. You can always reach out to Chad or I directly. All our information is on our website, which is theacepmg.com.
She said it.
Do you guys have a storefront at Delta?
We do.
Yeah.
Most of our projects have homes in presentation centers or discovery centers, but we also have a nice storefront right by the fountain when you're coming into the Delta Grand, which has all of our projects, the touchscreen. You can go through any of the offerings that we have out there, as well as our product in the Kootenays, on the island, and in North Van.
Fantastic. Well, it's been awesome having you guys on. Thank you for coming and sharing.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, no problem. Keep it up, and hopefully they can bring some buyers and buy some of the units. So, all right. Thank you.